Welcome back to Murder with the Missus. I'm Darren.
And I'm Amy. And today we're going to tell you the rest of Tamla Horsford.
Part 2. Don't forget to smash that like button. Check out the description for the links of all of our podcast platforms, Cash App, and Buy Me a Coffee. Like, share, subscribe, and don't forget to tell your friends. Part 2, baby.
Yeah. Now, in case you haven't noticed, this is part 2.
Part 2, baby.
If you haven't listened to part 1, what are you doing? What are you doing?
What are you doing with your life?
Go over there first and then come back here. We'll wait for you.
Yeah, because we need you guys to come up with the conclusion.
Yeah.
So that, you know.
We need to know. We need to know what you know.
You're complete.
Darren needs conclusions, y'all.
I do.
Now, to recap this, Tamla was at an adult sleepover. There was drinking. She was smoking. And Tamla was found face down in the backyard, seemingly because she fell off the balcony or possibly a ground level fall. They haven't quite figured that part out yet, but the stories from the guests at the house are not matching up with the scene. So now that we have that, let's start this one with the police going to tell Tamla's family what happened.
What was she smoking?
She was smoking cigarettes and weed.
Reefer.
Yes.
The Chiba.
The Chiba. Now, when police went to, you're about to get mad, okay?
That icky.
When police went to Tamla's house to do the death notification, her husband Lee was going to the bathroom. So he had one of the kids answer the door. Now they come and tell him, hey, it's the cops and they want to talk to you. So he comes to the door and the cops ask if he is Lee. He asked.
Sorry.
Wow.
We're still trying to get over this flu thing.
Yeah.
So we're all like congested and stuff.
Apologies for your ears.
Feel a lot better than what we did, though.
Yes, yes. Now, the cop's like, are you Lee? And he says, what is this pertaining to? Because remember where we are. We talked about that at the beginning of this case. People of color are a little apprehensive around here, with good reason. So they ask, is your name Lee? And he repeats, what is this pertaining to? And the cop raises his voice, is your name Lee? He said, it's actually Leander. But what is this pertaining to? And the cop says, it's about your wife. She's deceased.
Wow.
Yeah. So many people were upset about how he was told, right? And they're frustrated because this is not how you do a death notification.
Well, I mean, is there other ways to handle that?
There's many other ways to handle it. Now, I do understand the frustration on both sides.
I mean, the way he was saying, is your name Lee? It's like he was
angry.
Like drilling him.
He was. Because in order to give a death notification, in all fairness, you have to make sure you're telling the right person.
Well,
so I can understand why he's like, just tell me your name. Are you Lee? But at the same time, I can understand Lee being like, what do you want?
Yeah.
I'm not telling you who I am until you tell me what the hell you want. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm on Lee's side on that one. But either way, compassion is something that needs to be at the top of the list if you're the cop that's going to give death notifications.
Exactly.
There was so many ways that could have been handled. Now, because Lee has no idea what's going on, right? And no one who loses somebody suddenly thinks that this is what's happening. You know what I mean? Like, that's not the first thing your brain goes to usually. So Lee was trying to head out at this point. He's like, okay, something's happened to Tamla. I've got to go. He's getting his shit together and he's about to head over there, but they wouldn't let him go. They told him that there was an accident, that she tripped over something and fell in the grass. Now, Lee said this is a woman that he had seen drink a half a bottle of tequila and be salsa dancing in 6-inch heels. Tripping and falling on the grass did not make sense to him. And then, now let's make it worse. He goes to the funeral home, right? She's taken to the GBI. She gets her autopsy done. We're a couple days out. He goes to the funeral home. And when he sees her, he immediately yells, what the fuck? He said it looked like they had put black shoe polish on her face.
What?
They had painted her face black.
Why?
Now you can see her in this case pic. She is, yes, she's darker skinned, but she's not that dark skinned. And that's what he tells them. He's like, look, we're the same color. Like, why would you paint her completely black? Right?
Yeah.
He said, he told him to take that shit off of her. Get it off of her face. And they said that they had to do it to cover up the bruises. but they make actual full coverage foundation in all the shades.
Yeah.
Like, he said it looked like they literally did blackface.
Yeah, that's messed up.
Yes. He was so pissed off. Now, him and his oldest son were the only two that saw her. And he said it was like an unreal experience, that they could not believe that people actually did this. Like, this is not back in the day. This was 2018, like, or 2019. This is not okay. Now, there's some police audio that was very interesting also from the day of the funeral. So the day of the funeral, the cops are back at Jean's house. So that's where this all happened, was at Jean's house. They do the interviews there for the most part for all these party goers that were at this party. Now, this day was investigators Mike and Tyler. Now, remember those names. It seems that Madeline, the aunt, had made the cops cookies. Okay. Now, that's all right. They're working hard. Give them a little snacky snack. Mm-hmm. But you also hear Jean saying that she got them Dunkin' Donuts gift cards. She even says, I was told I shouldn't, because then it could look bad if I give you something before the case is closed. And it's very stereotypical because I figure all cops love Dunkin' Donuts, right? Right? Then Jean says, do you need me or can I go upstairs and get ready for this funeral? So people had a big problem with her saying this funeral. And the cop says, go do your thing. Go ahead. So a lot of people, one, why are you making them cookies? Two, why are you giving them gift cards?
Exactly.
And three, why are you calling it this funeral when she's supposedly a friend? Like, she's someone you invited to your home. And you're like, can I go get ready for this funeral or what are we doing here? It just rubbed people the wrong way. And I also want you to look at the case pick on this one, because right underneath Tamla's name, you're going to see a picture of 3 women wearing face masks, right, during COVID. What's on those face masks?
What is on the face mask?
They're Dunkin' Donuts face masks. Yes. So they're like, I don't know what their affiliation is with Dunkin' Donuts, but it's just really odd. Now, it took about 3 to 3.5 months for the cops to get the ME's final report. And they did believe that this was an accident, but they left the case open until they got that report so that they could see the injuries and her toxicology report, right? The GBI autopsy shows blunt force trauma to her head, neck, torso, and extremities. There's 4 types of hemorrhages in the skull and brain. There's dislocation of the right wrist, a broken neck, and a 1-inch laceration of the right wrist, abrasions on the left forearm and left index finger, a 1/2-inch laceration to the right and left leg shin areas, and a 3/4-inch laceration to the right ventricle of her heart. Right?
Okay.
She also had faint superficial abrasions of the forehead, eyelid, nose, and chin. They said her injuries could not have come from a ground level fall. Like, you can't literally trip over the edging on a flower bed and do all that damage. You can't damage your heart falling from that far. So they're like, she definitely had to fall from that balcony.
Yeah, but how high up was the balcony?
The balcony is 14 foot, 10.5 inches.
I mean, I could see her getting some of those, but I don't know about all of them.
Right. You got a broken neck. You've got a dislocated wrist. You've got damage to the heart. I mean,
you got a laceration at the heart. Yeah.
You've got scrapes and cuts all over her.
Okay.
How? If you just fell off a balcony that was literally right there and fell straight down.
It sounds like somebody stomped the shit out of her.
Doesn't it though?
Yeah, it sounds like somebody did that to her wrist. And I mean, was it like a stab?
No.
To her heart?
It was just she hit so hard. It lacerated her heart. That's what they're saying.
So, stomp?
Couldn't tell you. They didn't say anything about there being any imprints on her chest. He's trying to make this make sense.
Because, I mean, it sounds like they just, like she got the shit beat out of her.
That's what it sounds like, doesn't it?
To me, that's what it sounds like.
That's what it sounds like, doesn't it?
Like she went on the balcony to
Smoke, maybe.
smoke other than a cigarette, and then Jose finally had enough because he had to tell her already that would have been the third time.
Well, now Jose did not know she was smoking weed.
He knew.
Yeah, I'm sure John was
because they had to keep telling Jose, Jose's here, he's a cop.
Right, he has ties to law enforcement, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can't be doing that with Jose here.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I've already told you once.
Supposedly, Jose didn't know. And they found an unlit cigarette and lighter on the balcony.
Yeah.
Jose did.
This is all pure speculation, so.
Yeah, everything we say is speculation.
This is just what I think. So,
there's a lot of theories on this one.
Yeah. Plus, what about the who was the one that said that, what was the island girl?
That was Aunt Madeline. Yeah. She was like your friend from the islands.
The friend from the islands.
Mm-hmm.
Which one is she? Which one is she?
The aunt? Oh, she's not on there.
Oh, she's not on there?
Mm-mm.
Of course not.
No, there's no pictures of her on our deal. But anyways, you would think also, I'm just going to throw this out there, that if she fell from almost 15 feet up and landed on her face, because remember they made a huge deal that she was face down, you would think that she would have broken bones in her face, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you fall flat. Anyways.
Yeah, I mean, she's got all these other injuries. If she fell flat like that right there, you'd think that she would have like broken bones in her face or broken nose, jaw.
Exactly.
But no, she's got
teeth.
She's got a broken neck.
She has a broken neck and a dislocated wrist.
Dislocated wrist, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I could see the dislocated wrist if she put her hand out, but they said her hand was flat.
Flat to her sides. Yep. That's what they said.
It sounds like somebody stomped shit out of her.
She would have a lot more than faint superficial cuts on her, but this is obviously, of course, another big issue in this case. Now, her blood alcohol level was 0.238, so that is 3 times the legal limit.
Well, she was drinking that night.
Oh, yeah. She was the only one drinking that tequila because the snooty heifers didn't want it.
Yep.
And they said that level is associated with blackouts, loss of coordination, and vomiting. But the people at the party, remember, said that no one was fall over drunk except Jen. She was the only one. She was the sloppy drunk. Tamla did have marijuana in her system, which we knew that was going to happen. We all know that part.
Yeah.
But she also had Xanax in her system.
Oh, yeah?
Now, this is Xanax that had not been metabolized in her liver yet, so she had to have just taken it right before she died.
Or maybe it was slipped in her drink.
Well,
no, because it hadn't been metabolized yet.
It hadn't been metabolized, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the FCSO said that the drugs and alcohol in her system, the cigarette and lighter on the balcony, and her being found on the ground directly under the balcony, that she likely fell off of that balcony at about 1:57 a.m. Now, how do they know that? Well, I'm going to tell you. On the 911 call, Jose said that Jean had security cameras in the backyard, so they could probably look at those to see what happened. But those cameras,
of course,
are the kind that you have to charge. Like they're not hardwired in and they don't have batteries that you can change out. So you literally have to take them down and plug them in to charge them.
Okay.
Yeah.
And she hadn't charged them.
She lost the cable.
Yeah. Way to go.
Yeah. So what she did have was the system in her house that showed when the front and back doors were opened and closed.
Okay.
Now keep in mind that when I say back door, I mean the door to the patio, which is the bottom part.
Okay.
And they didn't have anything on the door to the balcony.
Of course.
Yeah. Now they did pull this log from the security system. So the only thing in the police, or they did not pull it from the security system. What they did was they took a picture of Jean's phone where it had the notifications listed.
Oh, the doors opening and closing.
Right. So that's what they have to go off of. So it alerts her phone every time, kind of like a Ring cam does now when there's movement.
Yeah.
It was doing that. So here's the log. At 1:47 a.m., the front door opens and closes. Now, if you'll recall, this is when Bridget left. This is when her husband came and picked her up.
Yep.
At 1:49 a.m., the back door opens.
That was whenever she went to go smoke.
At 1:50, the back door closes. So they believe she went out for that last cigarette, shut the door when she went outside. At 1:57, the back door opens. Okay, so that's her coming back in. Right. But it's never closed. So she went out and shut the door behind her, but they're saying when she came back in, she did not shut the door, which is odd.
Which means that somebody's sitting there waiting for her.
And then there's no other activity until 4:10 a.m. Right? Mm-hmm. So this is when Marcy leaves out the front door because she had just got a job at the Coach store in the outlet mall, and this was her second day of work. So she had to leave at 4:10 in the morning so that she could go get ready for work. And now then you have a few hours later when Paula leaves, then Stacy and Tom, and then Madeline finds Tamla. So if Tamla went out at 1:49 to have that last cigarette, closing the door behind her, you assume she comes back in at 1:57, but she doesn't close it. So why do the cops think that she opened the door to the patio, but fell off the balcony at the same time at 1:57 a.m.?
Exactly.
That's
what I'm saying. I mean,
what?
It was either her coming back in or it was somebody going out.
Exactly.
And leaving the door open.
Exactly. So they throw out theories that she was maybe leaned over the balcony,
take the balcony out.
I know, but this is what they're working with. Maybe she felt like she was going to be sick and she leaned over the balcony and lost her balance and fell, or that she was sitting on the railing getting ready to smoke that cigarette when she fell, and that's why the cigarette and lighter were on the floor. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But she wasn't on the balcony. She was on the ground floor.
She was on the ground floor. Somebody was on the ground floor. We don't know if it was her not going in and out of that door, but we know the door was open.
Yeah.
We know that. And there's a lot of problems with this case. So we'll have to break some down real quick. Not all of them, because who has that kind of time? But if you want to look into this case, definitely do a deep dive because there's a lot. And first, I think we'll go ahead and take our break. We'll go ahead and listen to an ad from our sponsor today.
All right. Just hang with us and we're going to get right back into this story. Mm-hmm. Did you hear what happened last night at the laundromat?
No, what?
Some clothespins held up a couple of shirts.
Oh, God. That's a good one. Now, when it's cold outside, do you like to pull out a pair of warm sweatpants straight from the dryer and put them on?
Yeah, it's nice and cozy.
Wouldn't you rather do that at home and not in a laundromat?
Oh, God.
If you live in an apartment and need a washer and dryer that only you can use, get a pin.
You can go to My Laundry Solutions, the #1 choice for washers and dryer rental.
They're in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Springfield, Joplin, and Kansas City, Missouri, Sherman, Dallas, Houston, and Lubbock, Texas. Their newest location is in Fort Worth. They have more locations opening in Texas in 2025 and 2026. No credit check, free service, professional installation, and your account's available online, all for about $1 a day. Go to your leasing office, go to mylaundrysolutions.com, or call 800-535-4411.
Stop being taken to the cleaner and give them a call today. Go check out My Laundry Solutions. It's just a win-win, especially if you're in college and in the Texas area.
Yep, they just opened up in Lubbock.
Yep, they just opened up in Lubbock. So, I mean, if you're in college and you need washer and dryer, you don't feel like going out and buying one or whatever, this is a great solution. Mm-hmm. And everything's $30
about it all the time.
$30 a month.
Yeah.
And everything. And if it breaks down or if anything ever happens to anything like that, they'll send somebody out to service it or put another one in.
That's priceless.
I mean, good night. I wish I'd do that for our house.
Right?
I can tell you this much, when we have to replace them, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
I ain't buying no more.
We're calling My Laundry
But
Solutions.
if you guys would be interested, if somebody that you know would be interested in doing an ad on our podcast, just send us an email at dna.truecrime@gmail.com and we can go over the details with you and then see what kind of ad slot you want and do all that stuff out. And we can do the ad and then send you a copy of it to where you can approve it and we can push forward. Bird.
All right. Now, we were talking about the police that are investigating this case now.
Okay.
Bear with me. There were cops involved in this case that had pictures posted of them with Mamie dolls. Now, these are dolls with blackface.
So they're going like Bing Crosby, Mamie's.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Now, there were ties with party guests and the sheriff. The lead investigator, Mike, was sending information and case photos to many of his girlfriends at the time. And they turned him in because even they were like, this is wrong. You shouldn't be sending us this stuff. So they even turned him in.
Mm-hmm.
And he also allegedly referred to Tamla as the porch lady. That's how he would describe her.
Really?
Yeah. He lost his certification to work as a cop because of that. And there was audio from body cam footage of a cop talking about Jose on the scene, saying, we've got some mutual friends together. I've known Jose for a while now. We're friends. So these ties are not making these partygoers look any better. And they're not making the fact that most people believe this was a cover-up job any better. In another audio recording, one of the partygoers is worried about making it to work at her new job on time. I'm thinking that this might be Marcy, the one who it was her second day at the Coach store and she left at 4:10 that morning.
Yeah.
The cop tells her, I'm sure you're good because your boss is my wife.
Uh-huh.
So there's like little connections everywhere.
Yeah, that's just how this shit works.
Yes, in these possible cover-up cases, for sure. Now, it was widely reported that there was no autopsy photos taken. Now, this is a requirement. If you're doing an autopsy, you have to take photos. It's the thing. So the GBI made sure to say, we definitely took autopsy photos. We just didn't make them public. But we took like 5 pictures, so get off our back.
Huh.
5 is nothing. Nothing. They even had like, I think 6 crime scene photos. Now those were, I don't know how public they are, but I was able to see them.
Yeah.
Right? But I really hope that there's more than that out there and that we can only see 6 of them because I've only ever seen the 6. So let's talk about the Xanax in her system.
Yep. Which is normally for like anxiety.
Yep. And who at the party had anxiety?
Well, the one that was downstairs.
That would be Bridget. Bridget was the one who couldn't sleep at the house that night because her anxiety does not allow her to sleep in other people's
She was
houses.
waiting on her husband to come.
Yep. And she left at 1:47 a.m., 10 minutes before they believe Tamla died. The one who carries Xanax in a necklace so that it is readily available to her. I bet it's like a vial, but in my mind, I'm picturing like the candy necklace, but with pills. Now, the one who also shares her Xanax and her Klonopin with all of her friends. She even gave some to another partygoer that morning when they found out what happened. And then that person asked for more that afternoon because it really helped them out. Now, she denied this to the police. And when they tell her, we saw the texts where she asked for more. So they're like, we can see you.
Dumbass.
Yeah. And they're like, what do you say about that? And she said, well, I'm not going to say I didn't give her Xanax. Okay, great. Now, since the Xanax hadn't metabolized in Tamla's system, it could be that maybe Bridget had given her some to maybe, I don't know, help her go to sleep. Because remember, everybody else was in bed, but Tamla wasn't tired yet. So right before she left, it's believed that she gave Tamla a Xanax and Tamla took it. Throw in the fact that she said that Tamla followed her to the door, hugged her, kissed her goodbye, and then shut the door behind her. Remember?
Or did she?
Well, Bridget's husband, who came to pick her up, says he saw no one else at the door when Bridget came out of the house. So, okay.
And what time did he say he picked her up?
Oh, no, the time is definitely on point. It's just the fact that Tamla was not at that door with her. So there's little things that just aren't adding up all over the place. And Tamla had a friend, Michelle, who is very vocal in this case. She was actually sued by some of the partygoers, including Jean and Jose, for defamation because she went on Facebook and made a lot of posts that they were responsible for Tamla's death. Now, that suit was dismissed, but another friend, Ashlyn, the one who organized the Change.org petition in Tamla's case, also alleges that she was harassed by the police because of her being vocal in this case. There's a bunch of stuff involved here, and the police did originally ask the partygoers for any photos or videos from that night, but they didn't actually take any of their devices themselves or download the data. They just was like, hey, if you got anything, send it over. Okay. By the time the GBI did get a subpoena for those phones, At least 2 of them had already got new phones, and texts and pictures were already deleted off the other ones.
Of course they were.
Yeah. So the family got a lawyer, okay, and they had Dr. Shaker. He's a forensic pathologist who looked at Tamla's body after the GBI, and he says that her dislocated wrist, remember, was actually a compound fracture. Now, I don't know if you know what a compound fracture is, but it's when the bone actually breaks through the skin.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't just a dislocation. Like her bone was sticking out. So why would they call it a dislocation? In seen photos, you can see the bone sticking out of her right wrist. Now, this is the right wrist, not the left one that she had up. Remember? Now, there was very little blood at the scene as well. What little blood was there was on the sleeve of her pajamas, and it was on her left wrist.
Was that the one that had the laceration?
That's the right one.
Oh, so that was where the bone was sticking out.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Now, this leads to the belief that this injury would have had to have happened either while she was dying or immediately after she died, because the heart then would only be either barely beating or not beating at all to pump the blood out, right? The GBI said that she had a fracture to her spine. Dr. Shaker says there was no fracture to her spine. He also said there was no significant injuries to the skull or the bones that you would expect to see if she fell from the balcony, like we were talking about. What about her nose? What about this? What about that? The family attorney says that there is a strong possibility that this was a homicide.
Yep.
That the abrasions on her arms should have been looked at as defensive wounds. And that with all these conflicting statements, there's no autopsy photos. It warrants an actual investigation. But now it's been so long that everything's gone. COVID was a thing, and the Black Lives Matter movement lit a fire. So there was new interest in the case, and that Change.org petition shot to over 600,000 signatures. The FCSO asked the GBI to assume the case and open an independent investigation. And they did, but it went nowhere.
And still doesn't make sense.
It does not make sense. Another couple of things, and then we'll go ahead and close this one out. But remember Marcy, the Coach store worker who left at 4:10 a.m.?
Mm-hmm.
She said that she had to go to get ready for work. They found out that her shift started at 10 a.m.
Okay.
Why are you not sleeping?
Yeah.
Why do you need 6 hours to get ready for work?
Mm-hmm.
And if you do, maybe you need to reevaluate your getting ready process because you're doing way too much. There's no reason that she should have left at 4:10. So that's another weird thing that everybody's like, why? Why would you literally leave after getting a couple of hours of sleep instead of just sleeping and then getting up and going to get ready? Anyways. And then there's Jose. Now, he got fired from his job for inappropriately accessing Tamla's case and her friend Michelle's personal information, like her address and shit, and sharing it with the other partygoers. But then they sued her for defamation, even though he's illegally accessing all of her information. And a couple of things to mention. Jean and Jose both told investigators that Madeline knocking on their door is what woke them up. So no one understands about that water running and why she would have thought that they were in the shower. Because even they're not backing Madeline up. They're like, no, we were definitely not in the shower. Also, Madeline said that she didn't know Tamla's name because this was the first time she had ever met her. But if you'll remember back in part 1, we heard in Jean's audio recorded interview from a year after the incident where she says that during the pumpkin carving party the weekend before this party, Madeline was outside smoking pot with Tam. So this was not the first time that she had met her. And this was not the first time that they had smoked weed together. So make that one make sense, Madeline.
Yeah.
No ambulance ever arrived, even though in the 911 call, you can hear Jean specifically say that they needed police and an ambulance. So why didn't an ambulance show up? Why did they only send police? It may have been because they kept saying she's stiff, you know, but somebody still has to go there to confirm that she's no longer breathing.
Exactly.
No one ever did CPR on her, even though Jose was trained to do it. He didn't even really check to see if she was breathing. Remember,
he moved her. He moved her fucking leg.
Right. That was how he checked, was move her leg. Yeah.
I mean, it's weird because, it sounds like, she looked like she, maybe passed out in the yard.
Right.
That's what it sounds like. I mean.
Right. The way they describe the body, where it's located, it's a party. Most people are drinking, having a good time, and then someone's in the backyard face down the next morning. The assumption would be that they've passed out.
Yeah.
You go roll them over, shake them awake, make sure they're okay.
But listening to it and listening to the injuries and all this other stuff, it sounds like somebody just stomped the shit out of her.
It definitely was not what they're saying it is, because they're saying that it was too much for her to have tripped over the edging and fallen on a ground level fall, but it was not enough for her to have fallen off the balcony.
Yeah, I think the balcony's out of the damn question. I don't think she was even up on the balcony.
Right.
I think somebody planted the cigarette and the lighter up on the balcony.
Right. That's a belief.
To make it look like it.
Right. That was going to be my next point, because if she's, okay, the little door chime thing is notifying that she's going in and out on the patio, right? And that's underneath the balcony.
Yeah.
So someone would have had to have taken her cigarette and lighter up top, right? Because she did not fall from there. So they believe that that's what they did, that they planted that up there, and then was like, oh, she fell off the balcony. But then why lie about it if you didn't have anything to do with it? You know what I mean?
Yep.
None of it makes sense. Now, there was a group of people who believe that she actually fell down the stairs. So I don't know if you can see in this picture, but in our first case picture, it was a more close-up picture of the house. Over to what you would see as your right side on that picture, there are a set of stairs that come from the balcony down to the patio.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people that believe that if she was up on that balcony, she fell down those stairs. And that would explain all the abrasions from top to bottom of her body and, enough impact to do damage to her heart, the compound fracture on the wrist, the broken neck. It all kind of lines up to a fall down the stairs.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are saying that's what happened.
Well,
but then why
push
move
down the stairs?
Or pushed. So, but then why move her body?
To make it look like she just...
Yeah, that she had fallen down the stairs and that they possibly drug her. And that's why some of that mulch had gone over the edging into the backyard of that flower bed. That's where they drug her. And that would be why her legs and feet were straight out from her and things like that. And they just put her arms next to her. Right? I don't know. So this is why this remains one of these baffling cases where nothing adds up, but still nothing is being done about it.
Yeah.
Lots of questions, not enough answers. And so that's where we're at on this one. I'm leaving Darren
just a bunch of
on a cliffhanger.
Racist ass cops on this one.
That's what a lot of people believe. Yes.
Yeah.
So let us know what you think about the case. It's always interesting to hear things. And we've talked about it before. We don't put everything in here. We can't put everything in here. Some of these cases have so much information. We could cover them for a whole month and not even.
We just try to hit the hard points.
That way, if you're interested in it, you can go and do a deep dive as well.
Yeah.
And get all the dirt.
Yeah. Because we get comments all the time where it's like, oh, you didn't say this or you didn't say. We're not hitting every little detail. We'd be here for freaking 3 days or a week or 2 hours.
Some of these are long.
Yeah, we'd be here forever trying to cover every bit of it. We're trying to give you something that you guys can listen to on the way to work or while you're just relaxing at home or whatever, And
then if you want in your spare time, you can go look up some stuff and see what else come out. It's just the thing. We're just giving you the highlights.
Yep.
So if you like our content, please like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you get notified when a new episode comes out. We also have Cash App at $MWTMpod. Or if you have a case suggestion, you can also email us at dna.truecrime@gmail.com. We'd love to hear what you want to hear about.
Yep. And you can also go over to Buy Me a Coffee at buymeacoffee.com/MWTM. And don't forget to tell your friends, as always, because we are always looking for new subscribers.
Always in the market.
Yep. The more the better. So until next time, guys,
bye.
I hope you guys enjoy everything.
I'll say it again. Bye.
Bye.